Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to a special Saturday night edition of Wrestling Insider Current Events. Hopefully, if it's a quiet night on your end, we're going to keep you company for a little bit, talking about the Friday, January the 15th, 2021 edition of WWE SmackDown. It's interesting. I don't know about your part of the world, but it is starting to get later, just a little bit later, by a minute or two each and every day here in the Boston area. I am taping this probably about 4:30-ish or so, and it's starting to be light out as opposed to dark. So the one thing, even though snow is going to be hitting us hard in Boston before winter is all said and done, at least it's getting a little lighter out. No doom and gloom, almost 50 degrees today for a high. We'll take that anytime, believe me, compared to the Arctic weather we get at our worst. Was looking forward to our Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill pay-per-view watch-along tonight, but Dave Carter vanished into thin air, and old Socko missed out on back-to-back nights of learning experience to get under his belt in the king of sports professional wrestling. I don't understand that. It wasn't the way I was taught when breaking into wrestling with the Boston bad boy Tony Rumble. It wasn't what I was taught by Ed Cohen of WWE when I worked with them in 2000 and 2001, or sitting under the learning tree of Paul Bearer. But the way I look at it, if you can't do it at this level, I don't know how you expect to do it on a national stage. But that is one man's opinion. As we try and build up the live premiere on Saturday night, let's just get a couple of quick plugs. And we had a blast with Mr. USA Tony Atlas last night, live in studio during SmackDown. Did you join us? We had a lot of great friends with us. We had a lot of laughs. We talked wrestling with the fans. Tony had his artwork and autographed photos available to help us keep the lights on here at the studio. We're almost turning into PBS with the way we have to do these fundraisers. A replay of that show is available on YouTube now if you couldn't join us live. And autographs are still available at the link on the video. We look forward to another live episode with Tony in the month of February. If you're one of our Patreons, get the inside scoop on not one, not two, but 3 interactive live episodes coming your way between now and the middle of February. Speaking of Patreon, our family of insiders continues to grow as we give you early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insiders weekly in-studio shoot interviews. You get access to our world-renowned studio shoot interview DVD library that's been seen by millions on YouTube and millions on The Howard Stern Show. We give you bonus Patreon-exclusive content, and, most important, during the worst of times, we're helping keep wrestling legends working for less than a cup of coffee over at Starbucks at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Try it out for a month. You'll love it. Link in the description box below if you can't remember the link I just gave to you. It's a big week ahead here in Boston Wrestling. Tuesday night, 10 p.m. As usual, Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday night at 10 p.m. after AEW and NXT, come on over to Boston Wrestling, baby. It's Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. This week, it's the return of the Warlord, who's proven to be a great guest. Thursday night at 10 p.m., Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll look at the world of professional wrestling in the 80s and 90s continues on Wrestling Insiders Parties with Marty. And then we wrap up the week with John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays after SmackDown, each and every Friday at 10 p.m. That's not even including our AEW and WWE TV review shows, our flashback clips, our daily history videos, and so much more as we continue to grow Boston wrestling sports, even without live wrestling events to give you. Tell a friend, tell a few thousand. They'll love it. We really need more eyeballs on these great shows so we can continue to do more and bring you guys more great content at the same time. Don't forget, our eBay store is open 24/7. If you see something you like, feel free to send us an email and contact us direct, as eBay takes a giant cut of every sale. We can set up sales via PayPal where you're still protected, and we have a little bit more to put towards these great productions. With that said, here is Southwestern Connecticut's finest, Socko himself, Mr. Matt Degnan. All right, Mr. Socko, it was another wild night under the Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, home of the Tampa Rays, and for at least the next couple of months, home to WWE Raw and SmackDown. Let's see what happened. Let's see what those of the great fans that missed SmackDown due to the live Tony Atlas episode, let's tell them what they missed.
Well, SmackDown kicked off with Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Jey Uso. I thought it was a good opening match to start the show off well. Before the match, Jey cut a promo about winning the Royal Rumble and his family taking over WWE after he wins the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre or Goldberg at WrestleMania. We'll find out what happens and see if Jey Uso will actually win the Rumble, which I highly doubt. Nakamura then came out during the promo and called Jey Uso a little puppy compared to Roman Reigns, since he calls himself the big dog. Then he kicked Jey in the head, and the match started after the commercial break, of course. I like the ending of this match a lot. I thought it was clever and unique. You know, usually you don't see a lot of matches have clever endings anymore. It's usually just the basic roll-up. But I'm glad Nakamura faked the roll-up and then hit the Kinshasa for the 1, 2, 3. But what did you think of the opening to SmackDown last night?
I thought it was fantastic. Again, you have a couple of guys that were maybe miscast, underutilized in WWE, say at this point last year, and look at the positions they're in right now. I think the Nakamura heel turn was a failure overall. I think he's someone the fans genuinely like. I think him not being able to cut a promo on his own hurts him. Even when they did align him with Sami Zayn as a manager and so on. I think Nakamura is better off as a babyface, and I've spoken glowingly about what I think of Jey Uso's work as a heel. Both were excellent in the opening segment. I enjoyed the match very much. I continue to believe, as I said last week, and I think I've said now on a few SmackDown review episodes, it looks like Uso is hit the peak of where he's going to be as a single, and he's almost going to be the setup man. If you're a baseball fan, maybe that's a pretty good analogy, a setup man for the closer before the top baby faces get to work title matches with Roman Reigns, and that's not necessarily a bad spot compared to a tag team slot that sometimes could be one of the top 2, 3, 4 tag teams. There's much better money in the role that Jey Uso is in right now, for sure, and Jey Uso has shined in every opportunity WWE has given him in that singles role. It looks like we're going to see Nakamura eventually get a championship opportunity with Roman, where he went over with the pinfall victory on Jey Uso. So I thought it was a great kickoff to the show.
So who's the starter, Paul Heyman?
You know what? We'll go with the cool kids terminology in 2021. Paul Heyman is the opener because he opens the shows with the promos.
Yeah, I actually like the openers in baseball now. I think it's pretty cool.
Ugh, well, that's a different podcast for a different time. Ugh.
I think it's good. Have your opener go one inning, you know.
I think, not to talk baseball, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea in the playoffs when you try and throw your best out there on any given day for it to be part of a regular 5-man rotation or a 5-guy setup, I guess. I don't like it all that much, but that's just my baseball thought of the night.
Well,
I just hope I can go and see it live this year at some point.
Some are allowing fans. I know the Tampa Bay Rays just announced that they're going to have fans.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Well, maybe I'll have to go down to Tampa and see a couple of games then when the Red Sox. Maybe I'll have to go to Tampa to see a Red Sox game. The tickets will probably cost me less to fly to Tampa and get a ticket to a Rays game than to get a good seat at Fenway for a Red Sox and Rays game.
Well, during WrestleMania weekend, you might be able to go. Because they're supposed to have fans at WrestleMania where the Buccaneers play, so we'll find out. In the next match of the Blue Brand, Natalya defeated Liv Morgan via roll-up. Natalya did have help from an accidental distraction from Billie Kay. More nonsense from her. They're trying to add Billie Kay to the Riot Squad, and I really don't care to put it in lamest terms, but what did you think of Natalya and Liv?
The faction that I would add Billie Kay to is the one that was released back in April with all 30 of them or so, and that's kind of a cruel thing to say. I don't want to see the woman lose her job, but I think she's one of the worst on any roster they have in WWE right now. I don't think Billie Kay is very good. I don't care for Billie Kay's personality. Again, it's one man's opinion. She might be a lovely human being. But that doesn't translate on a professional wrestling, sports entertainment television show. In my opinion, Natalya and Liv Morgan was just kind of there. It wasn't atrocious, but it certainly wasn't good. It took what opened up a great show and just dragged it down a notch.
Yep. The next up on SmackDown, we saw Baron Corbin defeat Rey Mysterio. Good match, but it really didn't get much time. Could have done more if it was a little bit longer, but I'm sure this feud will extend longer. I'm sure we'll get it at least through the end of January, maybe even through February, but this seems like something they're going to build up. I feel like they're going to be adding Seth Rollins to this feud. I know it's not really fun, and they're going to have to bring it back, but when Ray said to Dominic after the match, he said, I know someone who can deal with Baron Corbin to bring him in. And Seth Rollins is rumored to be making his return. He's been backstage the past few weeks. So I kind of feel like they're going to bring Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin feud back from 2019, which I wasn't thrilled with it 2 years ago, and I wouldn't be thrilled with it now. But what did you think of Corbin and Mysterio?
I didn't think it was a bad match at all. I am a proponent of Baron Corbin, even if he is not a fan of our shows and blocked us on Twitter because of comments that John Cena Sr. had made about him. It is what it is. Some people are a little sensitive, more sensitive than others, but I think the King is someone, even though he's not exactly long in the tooth, he's not exactly a youngin'. He fits the role nicely. Almost a little bit of a surprise to see Mysterio take the 3 count to him. Like you said, that almost guarantees the feud is going to be extended, even without the promos that went along with it. Nice little win for Baron, but the problem with him is he loses as often as he wins. Ray, I would save his losses for guys that I think they could build off of more. Again, that's just one man's opinion. It seems like it's just the kickoff to the program, so we're going to have to see how it develops before we knock it or praise it too much. As far as Seth Rollins go, I would bring in Dr. David Reese to have a few sit-down sessions with Seth and try and figure out why he lost his mind and turned into the Monday Night Messiah about 14 months ago. Find out why he became castrated and instead of being the WWE champion after beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35, why he allowed himself to become Becky Lynch's boyfriend. Let Seth Rollins find his inner self and let it become unleashed on WWE SmackDown, and let it be the Seth Rollins the fans are actually interested in seeing again. The Seth Rollins that you want to buy the t-shirt of again. One man's opinion, please.
It almost seems like they're starting to tease Rey Mysterio versus Dominic at WrestleMania.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they were starting to tease that David Reese was coming in.
Well, maybe it's in the works. I didn't see it in the Observer this week. Maybe it'll be in the Torch.
Maybe.
Next up on SmackDown, the new talk show debuted. It's called. Oh boy, this was the worst. It's hosted by Bayley, and it's called Ding Dong Hello. Her first guest was Bianca Belair. This was honestly the worst part of the show. I really don't want them to do it anymore, to be brutally honest, but I'm sure they will, and they're going to be awful from here on out. They're honestly probably going to be the worst part of SmackDown every single week. They did it for way too long. Even the setup was the whole segment was cringy, not even just the setup. But once they started to talk and get away from the comedy, it got a little bit better. But when they started talking, they set up for an obstacle course for next week between Belair and Bayley, which I'm sure will be another vigorous segment.
Be a big winner.
Yeah. But this segment, I think, really, this was the down point of the show, of the 2 hours I was watching. But what did you think? I already know your thoughts on this.
Oh, maybe the down point of 2021, even though it's early in the year. This was as bad as the Tooth Factory or whatever the hell that thing was we saw on AEW the other night with Britt Baker. Well, maybe not, because no one was really killed in this segment. It was just lousy. It was lousy television. It's not fun. It's not funny. It's childish and uninteresting, and it's why the 18 to 49 demographic don't care about WWE anywhere near the way they used to. No one has an interest in Bayley. No one wants to see Bayley interviews. No one wants to see Bayley interview segments. I mean, who? Who wants more Bayley is what I want to know. And if they do, I want to set up sessions with them and Dr. David Reese. Nothing against Bayley. She has a great passion for the business. She's hardworking. But again, it just doesn't translate on television, which is why for those that do, the few that enjoy this type of stuff, I advocate to create the WWE. For a women's wrestling platform similar to the WNBA, let these great female athletes showcase what they can do on their own platform and not be held to the same standards as the men that wrestle on the same shows that they do. This was an embarrassment. You want to know what Ding Dong Hello should be? Every Tuesday when the ratings come in from Raw and they say, oh, this is the lowest rated episode ever, or this is one of the top 5 lowest rated episodes ever, they should say, Ding Dong Hello, and rewatch the show as to why it's so bad. Please. Ding Dong
or goodbye.
Hello. That's what it should be, is goodbye, because that's what I'm sure a few people did when they saw that nonsense come on the television, however they watched it with their remote control. Ding Dong Hello. I mean, what kind of an idiot do you have? And, I'm sure this would be insulting to many of the higher-ups in WWE that are responsible for putting the show together, but it's just so uncreative and lazy that this is the best they can come up with the roster of talent they have, is Ding Dong Hello. They should take that script and piss on it.
You know what they should do? I mean, I thought about this.
Burn it down. That's how they can bring Seth Rollins back. Randy Orton can light The Fiend on fire. Seth Rollins can light Ding Dong Hello on fire and burn it down again like his old theme song, as opposed to that boring, uninteresting song they gave him when he became the Messiah. Oh.
You know what they should do?
I'm shooting, brother. You never responded to the little clip I texted you the other day. Did you get a kick out of that?
I was just about to say, just like Johnny on Friday nights.
I do shoot, brother.
No, but what I was thinking last night when the segment was on was, they usually do the childish. Other than that, they usually do all this childish stuff, and I was thinking, you know how NFL did that broadcast on Nickelodeon?
And you know what? If WWE wanted to go that route, which is another thing I've advocated for a while, is programs with different ratings, a TV-14 WWE show, a PG show aimed towards all, and even a kids' aim show, along with an individual women's show. Why not have a show for little kids to enjoy and have, more superhero-like characters on? I think it would be a great thing. I know they had a show, I can't think of the name of it. It was on, I think, the CW, probably about 7-8 years ago. And you know me, I'm not an early riser, but for one of Baby Mirade's birthday parties, I got to the house early at 10 o'clock or whatever it may have been. And this TV show was on that I had never heard of, and I think it was hosted by Mick Foley. There were they wouldn't throw punches. There was nothing edgy to it at all. It was just kind of fun, harmless, humorous wrestling aimed towards little kids. And if you wanted to go that route with it, fine. To put it on primetime on Fox, on something they're advertising, on
that's
NFL football games, no.
Yeah,
no.
Keep the childish stuff and do like a Nickelodeon show. And, and sometimes, I mean, even if you do it, just put it on the network and get the parents to subscribe to that. That would be a good way to kick it off, is just put it on the network. It doesn't even have to be an hour or 2 hours. Keep it at a half hour. You could do the Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt stuff there. You could do this Bailey nonsense there. You can do the comedy with Otis on there. You can do all that stuff.
If I recall, I think that show was a half an hour long.
Yeah, but
I can't think of the name of it for the life of me. But when they did that kids theme show, again, you're probably talking maybe like 2011, 2012-ish. I think it was a half an hour long. And to try and hold the kids' attention, that's the perfect amount of time.
It wasn't called Wrestling Insiders?
It certainly was not. No, I don't think they would want my content on there.
No, but it's just keep the comedy to that show, half hour, whatever. And then keep Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to just strictly wrestling and seriousness, PG-13, whatever, edgy content,
I'll say this. I thought the Nickelodeon concept for the football game was ingenious. I thought it was a great way to explain to young kids that really may not be those that sit through a 3-hour game or two every Sunday, the rules, the regulations, who some of the stars were. I thought that was done very well. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the Nickelodeon broadcast, but there was, for whatever reason, that was the only version I could get at the studio, so I was stuck with it.
Yeah, I watched that, and I thought it was good to teach the younger kids. You start getting that younger group of fans kind of integrated with football and teaching them, Are
you still there? Socko, if you can hear me, I can't hear you. All right, no, you're calling me back. And an accept. Is this Mr. Matt Degnan?
I don't know what happened. It said
Neither did I.
Failed.
I thought you were offended by my thoughts on the Nickelodeon football game. I didn't know.
I don't know. That's peculiar. But as I was saying, to get the younger fans kind of, you start thinking of, okay, they don't have to know everything about what's going on, but just giving them a little push into the sports world. And I think that would be great for WWE, is just to do, some of the comedy stuff and the stuff that they usually do towards kids. Keep it for kids, You're not going to get, for ages, get somebody that's 5 who's going to like the same thing as someone who's 45. They're not going to like the same thing. And it's almost like movies. Movies are usually for one age grouping. You're trying to, like Madagascar, you're not going to have a 45-year-old saying, let's go watch that.
That is what I have been preaching for years. WWE claims they're entertainment. They want to be Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. Fine. Have different rated programs then to appeal to different age groups, to different demographics. There's no reason why there can't be an adult-themed WWE show. There's no reason why there can't be a show for little kids. There isn't a reason why there can't be a show with all women. They own their own platform on the network to do these types of things. See what the reaction is, and if it's good, then you can pitch it to television networks to try and monetize it even more. Again, one man's opinion, but I think it would be successful, at least as successful to attempt it, as opposed to watering down what should be your two main programs, Raw and SmackDown, with unwatchable garbage.
In lamest terms.
In honest terms. Jesus.
As we move on here, in the next matchup, Cesaro defeated Daniel Bryan. I'm glad we finally got a good wrestling match after that garbage that happened before it.
It was like every other segment this week.
Yeah, I love the matchup between Bryan and Cesaro. A little bit of an upset in my opinion. I thought Daniel Bryan was going to win, but I'm all for Cesaro getting a win. Daniel Bryan is my Rumble pick, so that's why I kind of thought he was going to win. But sometimes they'll have the Royal Rumble winner go in kind of cold or going in not really having a lot of wins. They don't want to make it too obvious who the winner's going to be. So I'm fine with this. But What did you think of Cesaro and Daniel Bryan? I thought it was a really good match.
Eliminating the scenarios around it, I thought the match itself was very, very, very good with two world-class professional wrestlers. The theory you just threw out there, I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I do know that whether it's WrestleMania or whatever the middle-of-the-road pay-per-view is going to be February 21st, I think that might be Elimination Chamber, or who knows.
That's Chamber.
If that's what they call it this year, or Fastlane, whatever it may be. I wish they'd do away.
Well, Fastlane's usually March. And
well,
then
they don't need
Chamber.
too many pay-per-views. Please, don't give them any ideas. But I wish Elimination Chamber would be done away with at this point for reasons I've already brought up. But anyway, if, per se, Bryan is the man they're going to go with to face Reigns at WrestleMania, you'd want to have him beat a top hot heel at that middle-of-the-pack pay-per-view leading into WrestleMania. By the way it was booked last night, that man would be Cesaro, with the theme and story being that, Daniel is going for his win back. If I'm WWE and I'm trying to get Bryan as hot as possible, leading into WrestleMania, trying to beat the best talent possible, I don't know if Cesaro would be that guy. Nothing against Cesaro. I think he's fantastic, but he's not someone that I'd categorize as a hot heel right now.
Well, maybe because Daniel Bryan says he wants to do a program with Shinsuke, so I could see maybe Shinsuke and Daniel Bryan kind of before WrestleMania. But
as long as neither one of them turns heel, because both of them are horrible as heels.
Not like Johnny on Friday nights. He usually turns face and heel. He goes back and forth.
Back. He's a tweener, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends how hot the light is on the piece.
Next up on the blue brand, we saw Apollo Crews defeat Sami Zayn via roll-up. Another roll-up on this show, and they're all over WWE TV nowadays.
Fruit roll-up should be the sponsor.
Yeah. John Candy was on hand for this match, by the way.
It really enhanced it.
In case anybody was wondering. It was a fairly short match, though, which I'm glad. We didn't get to see much of Sami Zayn while he's doing these conspiracy theory things and bringing out the photographers and the cameramen, which is just another nonsense storyline, which I'm sure is going to go absolutely nowhere and nobody's going to care about it. So not many thoughts on Sami Zayn. I like that they teased Apollo Crews. I didn't really tease it, but they're kind of building up Apollo Crews being with Roman Reigns, whether that's going to be a thing for the future or if it's just going to be a learning tree type of thing. Then they let him go on his own. But I wouldn't mind to see Apollo Crews kind of going under the wing of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, having them teach him. Because I think Apollo Crews is a great athlete. He's a good wrestler. But I think he does need a storyline or being in a faction to kind of help him suppress his weakness on the mic. I think that would be good, is to have someone like Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman and Jey Uso to help Apollo Crews' lack of strength on the microphone. But what did you think of Cruz and the Garbage Man?
You know what? If Sami Zayn, if they are content to continue to use him, I'd use him as almost, and you're probably going to laugh, but in a Lanny Poffo type role when he was the genius. Certainly that we don't want Sammy to fillet himself on SmackDown, but as in a guy with just enough credibility that he's not an enhancement talent, but he doesn't beat anyone of any great importance. The right man went over in this one. Apollo Crews is someone that I think has been miscast for a long time. He's a great athlete. Much like Bo Dallas, he's someone that I see much more potential in much more talent in on the non-televised event when he's allowed to go out there and work a little bit more. I'd be a big advocate for both Cruz and Bo Dallas if I was a WWE creative member, which I am not. But as far as putting Reigns, aligning him with someone that could give him some personality that he certainly lacks, as he has no personality, I'm all for that. I don't know if you want to throw everybody in that boat under the guidance of Paul Heyman, though, because I think you water down Paul Heyman. Jey Uso fits. I think you're probably talking now 2012-ish when they started to give Heyman the Rybacks and the
Curtis Axel
and those types.
CM Punk.
No. I think just one or two top guys should be under the guidance of Paul Heyman. One man's opinion.
But that's when he had, Punk and Axel and Ryback, and he was still doing Lesnar and
That
all
was
that
too
stuff.
much, though. He didn't need
Yeah,
that.
I know it was too much, but I'm just saying, like, all the people that he was with, and then it never really. Oh, and then he was with Cesaro for a little bit too. They just see, the thing with WWE is when they strike gold, they like to keep on digging and digging and digging and digging, and then they just get down to the bottom of the hole and they have nothing left.
Right.
So sometimes when you strike gold, stop, because sometimes there's only just rock behind it. But I just hope they don't milk out Paul Heyman anymore, because I think just add Jimmy when he gets cleared, and just do Roman.
Oh, Jimmy.
Yeah. I just add Jimmy and just do Reigns and the Usos and Paul Heyman as the special counsel, whatever the official
special counsel to the tribe.
Yeah, not like your tribal chief, but the tribal chief of WWE.
No, there's a lot more that can be done with Apollo Crews. I just hope it isn't aligned at the hip with Paul Heyman, I guess is the best way to put it. But who knows? Maybe WWE has something spectacular in mind creatively that I haven't thought of in my own brain yet. I just know as of right now, from how I've seen it and how it's been presented, it's not the route that I would go. But it's just me.
Sticking with the tribal chief, in the main event segment of SmackDown, we saw the contract signing between Roman Reigns and Adam Pearce for their last man standing match for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble in just a few weeks. Adam Pearce says, I've waited all night for you to do that. After Roman Reigns did sign the contract, he then says his knee hurts as he walked up the ramp, and then he said he is unable to compete, and out came Kevin Owens. As I said on the show last week, I believe that Adam Pearce was not going to face Roman Reigns, and they were going to switch him out with somebody. I know you didn't agree with me on that, but KO did come out, and now it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns in a last man standing match for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. What did you think of the main event segment? I thought it was good. I didn't really understand why they had the whole gauntlet match and then have Pearce win it, which wasn't needed, then take him out and then put Owens in. I know they want to book stuff and make things creative and different and all that stuff, but to me that just doesn't really make sense. I would have liked if someone got injured, maybe if Daniel Bryan get injured, take him out, have him come back at the Rumble and win the Rumble. But I would have rather have seen someone get injured and then have Adam Pearce say, oh, we're going to have to find someone. I would tease Adam Pearce being in the match, but then have Owens come out instead. That would have been fun to just have Owens win the gauntlet. I know you're not a big fan of Owens. I wouldn't have wanted it that way, but it would make more sense that way if they did it. But I'm not a fan of how they set it up, but I think the match itself at the Rumble will be fun since they have teased, not really teased, but they did do the brawl at the top of the Thunderdome between Owens and Reigns. So I think we might see that come into play in a few weeks at the Rumble when they have this last man standing match. But not a fan of how it was set up. But what did you think of the main event segment?
I thought the segment was good. Didn't particularly enjoy the players or the execution. I think it was a missed opportunity with Adam Pearce. And I know there's probably a lot of people that think I'm absolutely insane saying that, but where there are so many of the same matches with the same talents over and over and over again ad nauseum, why not do something a little fun? Even if it was a 2 or 3 minute match, why not? It would have been something different, and I think it would have captured more people's attention than what will be another Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns match, where you're not going to see anything all that different or new. Yeah, they may brawl. They may have a street fight. They did go around the Thunderdome for the first time when Jay worked Owens not too long ago. But, I mean, been there, done that. Why not try and do something a little bit out of the box? It's not a selling point of the Royal Rumble, this title match, either way. Are more people going to want to watch it now because Kevin Owens is working Reigns? I doubt it. Are more people going to want to watch it if Adam Pearce wrestled Reigns? I doubt it. The selling point to the Rumble is the Rumble, which is why you can get away with generally weaker championship matches on the show, which is why I wasn't against it. If it was a non-Rumble pay-per-view, I probably would have been much harder on the Adam Pearce idea. But considering where they were storyline-wise with the Rumble kicking off WrestleMania season, if you were going to do something a little hokey like that, it was a good place for it. Almost like when they put Vince in the Rumble at number 1 back in 1999. One man's opinion. I'm sure the Kevin Owens fans of the world are rejoicing, but I think Kevin Owens is miscast as a babyface. I think he should be a heel, and even as a heel, I'm not the biggest fan of what he does, but there are a lot of people that do like him. So those Kevin Owens fans of the world, enjoy the Rumble.
As we move into our grades now of SmackDown, as we broke it down from last night, not like Degeneration X, but my SmackDown grade for last night, I was between a 5 and a 6, so I know you don't like the halves. I would have been a 5.5, but I moved it down to a 5, because the last segment, as you said, it was good, but it wasn't really a good ending, but the segment itself was okay enough. But I thought is a 5 out of 10, middle of the road. I think the thing that really ruined it for me was that Bayley segment. I think if they took that out of there, I possibly could have even moved it up to a 7, but I think that was just awful. Just garbage. I know we already talked about it, but it makes me want to throw up in my mouth. But what did you think about SmackDown last night overall?
Maybe I still have that holiday spirit in me, but I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a much more watchable than non-watchable show. I certainly could have done away with the Ding Dong Bayley segment, and like I said, even the Natalya match wasn't overwhelmingly bad, even if they wanted to throw Billy Kay on commentary and distract people with that soundtrack. But there was some really solid matches on the show. They continued to progress storyline, which I always like on a wrestling show instead of it just coming out flat. Does it make me exactly want to tune in to see what's going to happen next week? Not especially, but again, storyline did progress coming out of it. So with the matches that I did like, especially the opening match, which I thought was probably the match of the show, I went with the 7 out of 10 on a watchable Friday Night SmackDown, which I was not able to watch live, obviously, because we were with Mr. USA Tony Atlas, who missed you.
I know he didn't miss
I know Tony is going to be working with your good friend down in Connecticut, one half of the Young Stallions from the late 80s, so he may have to give him a call. He said we needed Socko in studio. He's missing out on the opportunity to learn.
I think he needed his chicken wings a little more.
Oh, he had the chicken wings. He had plenty of chicken wings. He had egg rolls. He had fried shrimp. He really enjoyed himself last night when it came to his meals. And he had even a little soup. He was well fed. And then he came back and he hustled an 8x10 to bring them, to try and get the meal for free.
That probably wasn't the biggest shock of the night. But
no, definitely not. But he ate well, and he's going to be back live in February, along with some other great guests. We have 3 big live episodes coming up over the next 5 weekends, I think. So that's it's going to be quite a lot of work for me. I don't know. Everyone has been missing you. The Hard to Kill pay-per-view watch along tonight. Instead of being hard to kill, it was just killed. Dave Carter vanished into the unknown, and you refused to leave Connecticut.
The Impact pay-per-view really doesn't excite me, but
it's about the fans, baby. It's about the fans.
I'm sure the fans won't even be watching it either.
I think last time more watched the watch along than the pay-per-view, but I mean that's at the fans' discretion, as I like to say.
Did you want to guess the viewership of SmackDown last night?
I will say right around 2 million on the nose.
2,153,000.
Well, it was a little low this week. Usually I'm within 100,000 or so, but not too far off. Pretty good for what ratings are in 2021. Not a bad night at the office.
No, it's pretty, and it was up from last week, which is good. You never want to go down, at least make little strides. But it was up, and we didn't want the smoke, as the Street Profits say.
And they weren't on either, which was not...
Well, they had one promo, which actually wasn't too bad, to be honest.
Did they want the smoke?
Well, no, they cut a promo, and there wasn't too much comedy in it last night, which I was happy about.
Very serious Street Profits.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is what it is, but we have a big week ahead, as I noted at the top of the program. 4 great Wrestling Insider talk shows at 10 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. Our special guest on Special Edition Wednesday night at 10 after NXT and AEW is going to be your buddy, the Warlord.
He was a good pal of mine, one of the better guys to work with, not like our other good friends.
Stranovitz.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Well, that's a different story for a different time, but I look forward to the Warlord's return on 4 big talk shows. You can get that early ad-free access over at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Before we go, Prodigy, am I missing any news? Am I missing any notes? Am I talking over you? Am I interrupting you?
There was none. I added them all into the script there.
All right. Well, you're getting good at that. Then you're weaving and intertwining.
Like a knitter.
It's like Tony trying to find the whether he wants to eat the skin or the chicken inside the chicken wing.
Oh, he does it all.
He does it all. You are correct about that. Well, the good news is the official treadmill here at MWF Studios has arrived. If you want to get a workout in your colored pants and socks next time you're here, you will have that opportunity.
Why is there a treadmill?
There's a long story behind the treadmill, but we'll see.
I think I have a guess at why, but.
And the treadmill, it's sitting in a box right now over where the other podcast is, as I sit here at my little hornswoggle table.
Is it because of...
I think this little hornswoggle table was created because of the treadmill, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm still trying to put on my magnifying glass. Yes. I'm still playing detective to get to the bottom of this, but you know what? If it makes people healthier here at this studio, I'm all for it, I guess, as I sit here at a table where I can barely put my water next to the recorder. But again, I have promised the Patreons the pictures trying to compare the two tables size-wise. I will attempt to do that tonight, where I already give the fans some inside scoops on Patreon. If you want to know the stars in the dates that are coming in for live episodes, head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Along with all the great content, we even give you a little written scoopage. And
Giuseppe Scoops.
Well, that's what they call you in Italy, I guess, our Italian fans. Just so the fans at home know, what color are the socks tonight?
No socks, just the slippers.
Sock free.
When I'm home.
Oh, it's slippers.
I told you I always wear slippers.
Now, what color are the slippers?
Blue and gray.
Blue and gray. All right. Well, there was a man last night on the live episode with Tony Atlas, which I'm sure you didn't watch, as you didn't share it across social media as we needed you to do, but you were a busy man. They actually wanted to pay Tony to draw his wife's feet. So it's going to be
without shoes?
Yes, just 2 nude feet.
That's kind of weird.
Well, certainly, yes. But, well, you know what? To that man, it seems perfectly normal to have
for the
Tony
fan to
Atlas,
ask,
a Tony Atlas 18 by 24 portrait of his wife's feet somewhere in his home. To him, it's love. And it's almost Valentine's Day, so there you go.
For the fan to ask, it's a little peculiar, though.
Well, Tony will turn down no fan willing to commission him for a drawing.
For the meals.
Or a meal. All right, wrestling fans, that just about does it here on Wrestling Insider's Current Events. We will be back with another brand new... Well, I guess Tuesday night we have to call it a doubleheader, because we should have our Raw review at 9 and then Tony Atlas at 10.
Again, with the baseball references.
There you go. Or as they say at Halloween time at the movie theater, a creature double feature. And we got a lot of creatures that come in and out of this studio. Believe me.
That's one way to put it.
All right, Socko, don't forget to start hitting up those wrestling chat groups. We need to get some eyeballs on these shows. Get back to work. You can multitask. Watch the football and use the social media. Be like a normal kid in 2021. Don't focus on one thing. Please.
It's the playoffs.
That's all right. All you have to do is hit post. Jesus, Socko. We're going to have to send Larson down to Southwestern Connecticut.
I don't think he'll be leaving Dallas or Houston, wherever he's from.
Well, he was trying to capture the attention of Maria Davis the other night, and I don't think he realized Maria blocked him. So he got an A for effort, but not so much in execution. But anyway, wrestling fans, we had fun here on Saturday night. Hopefully we kept you company during the NFL playoffs or whatever it is you may enjoy. Again, don't miss our daily history videos. Don't miss our Wrestling Insider flashback clips on Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays. You never know what to expect, along with all the great TV review shows we're talking about each week now. We must have close to 20 videos. Prodigy, I'm going to rot away in this chair and die, and no one is even going to realize it.
Well, when the videos stop, they will.
At that point, maybe they'll check my chair. All right, then. Well, that's good to know. All right, for Matt Degnan, I'm Dan Mirade, folks. Again, don't miss all the great video content on YouTube this weekend. We'll be back with our Raw review Tuesday night, 9 p.m. before Tony Atlas at the top of the hour at 10. Good night.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Convention Center in El Paso, Texas, Monday, January the 16th, 1989. In the opening contest, the Blue Blazer beat Scott Casey. Big John Studd victorious over Rakim. Tito Santana defeated King Haku. WWF Intercontinental Champion The Ultimate Warrior retained the title over Ravishing Rick Rude. The Hart Foundation battled the Rougeau brothers to a time limit draw, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake defeated the Honky Tonk Man. If you are in El Paso live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll Journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.